One more episode of
The Horror Guys. Yay!
Yay!
I'm...
We sounded enthused.
Wow. Yeah,
And we're back for another episode of The Horror Guys. Yay!
Much better.
Much better, yes.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Brian.
And we're going to talk about some horror movies.
Episode 283. That's a whole mess of horror movies
That's
at this point.
A lot of movies.
And every last episode is available to go back and listen to at horrorguyspodcast.com. You can do a search. You can just listen to them all. It ought to be about 1,000 hours worth at this point.
Ooh, challenge accepted.
But this week, we've just got a bunch of new movies and one old movie for you.
Uh-huh.
What do we got?
We got Abigail from 2024 and Pandemonium from 2024 and Infested from 2024.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
I think The Infested is one of those where it was...
It's a foreign film.
It's
Yeah,
a
it
foreign
probably came out a
film,
year or
and
two ago.
Took a while to get to us. Yeah. And we have a 1974 film that's a little bit obscure, The Deathhead Virgin.
That's a weird one.
It was a weird one.
I don't know why I heard about this, but yeah, there it is.
Yeah, it was on some list somewhere, and yeah, we checked it out.
And if that's not enough, you could stop over at our newsletter site at horrorbulletin.com and read about Vertigo from 1958.
You know who directed Vertigo?
Alfred Hitchcock.
I bet he's an interesting fellow to read about.
You know, if you don't know much about Alfred Hitchcock, that's this week's free book, Alfred Hitchcock, The Biography.
On OurLongPress.com. OurLongPress.com.
There's a link in the show notes if you didn't catch all that. But yeah, every week we put out a free book. Actually, next week there's not going to be a free book. We're taking a week off.
Oh, we are?
14 books in 14 weeks. One of us needs a break.
Okay. I will allow it.
But Alfred Hitchcock is there today, and he's good for the next 5 days until Tuesday. That'd be July 3rd, I think. June 3rd. June 3rd, yes. Yeah. But you can go over and pick him up for free.
And check out the other fine titles while you're there.
Yeah, there's a lot of them now.
Yeah.
But okay, that's Vertigo, 1958 on the newsletter. Also on the newsletter is one that, boy, I watched this when I was little and I hated it to death. We watched it last week.
Didn't like it wasn't a whole lot better.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't awful.
It's better than I remembered it.
It's kind of middling. It's Frankenstein versus Baragon.
Otherwise known as Frankenstein Conquers the World in the American version.
And it's one of those giant creatures fighting each other kind of movies. And
it's basically middling. It's generic Godzilla versus a caveman. Giant caveman.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
But it's Frankenstein because that's cool.
Because why not? Well, in a convoluted way, it really is. Frankenstein.
There's more story to it than I thought.
The monster's heart survived.
Yeah.
And gets exposed to radiation and basically grows a new body because it's immortal.
I love how they kept saying he's a German monster that was reincarnated. They said several times in the movie he's Caucasian. And he is clearly played by a Japanese guy wearing prosthetics.
Yeah, he's very Asian.
But the star of the movie was an American. They could have just got 2 Americans for the movie and then called, or European or something.
They could have, yeah, but they did not.
Okay, we always complain about these old movies with people in yellow face.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call this? People in white face? I guess it technically is.
I guess technically, yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
But overall, it was an entertaining movie. I did not hate it.
No, I didn't hate it.
Vertigo, we can't say a whole lot about that, but we were both a little
disappointed.
It felt a little long.
It felt kind of long. I mean, Alfred Hitchcock was a genius, and there's a lot of brilliance to it and a lot of interesting things.
Vertigo is on the very top of some people's best movies of all time
but
list.
It's so long. I kept thinking, this is so long. It gets a little draggy.
It does go places you don't expect, though.
It does, though. Yeah.
All right, well, let's get almost all the movies this week are new. Let's do the Deathhead Virgin first, because it's old and we can spoil it to death.
Uh-huh.
And people can skip over the new stuff if they don't want spoilers.
Okay, I like the way you think.
1974's The Deathhead Virgin, directed by Norman Foster, written by Jock Gaynor and Larry Ward, stars Jock Gaynor and Larry Ward. And also Diane McBain, hour and a half. And I don't know where you get this on DVD or anything. We watched it on YouTube. The whole movie is available on YouTube. There's a link in the show notes where you can watch it right now for free.
Mm-hmm.
And it does have a very cool movie poster.
Yeah, it does. It's an underwater scene. Yeah, which
There's a lot of underwater stuff in this
yeah,
one.
and it actually is kind of true to the movie too. You see some cool movie posters where it's like, well, that didn't even happen, and those people weren't in the movie.
I'm looking at
This kind of is.
starring Jock Gaynor and Larry Ward. Produced by Larry Ward and Jock Gaynor. Written by Larry Ward and Jock Gaynor. And it says at the bottom, a war gay presentation. That's parts of their last names.
Yeah.
Basically, the two of them coughed up some money and made a movie.
Let's make this movie and star in it ourselves.
Spoiler free, what happens?
Well, the story itself is interesting and well executed. What brings it down is pacing and filler. There is an awful lot of downtime where we just watch characters doing normal stuff. They'll be having a barbecue on the beach or just hanging out or walking or, there's probably half an hour that could have been trimmed out while still keeping the good stuff. It's pretty good overall, but not great because of that.
They filmed a bunch of stuff and did not want to waste any of it.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, it was, but the story itself is, it's kind of cool.
It's worth watching.
And there's some creepiness, and yeah.
Well, two men in a dinghy approach a larger salvage ship that appears to be abandoned. When they pull up the net, they find human bodies, and credits roll.
What a way to start.
Janice Cutter lands at the airport. Her husband, Frank, and Larry Alden were the two men on the boat who died. Janice went home to the States, and she doesn't believe the story that the police told her. Mr. Capunin says they've reconstructed what happened, but it's still hard to believe. She's only come to collect the insurance policy, and then she'll fly back to Hong Kong. And we know it's not a murder. I mean, when anybody comes to collect the insurance policy, you immediately saying,
She's a suspect.
But no, not really.
Well, yeah.
Well,
it gets more complicated.
Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does.
Yeah. You have to keep going.
Capunin drives Janice to the cemetery, where the two men's remains are being buried. Maria and Sebastian are there as well, but they don't really know what happened. Capunin explains via flashback. And now we get the rest of the movie. Frank and Sebastian were out treasure diving when Frank found a covered tunnel underwater that leads him to a sunken ship. There's a locked door, and behind it he finds a skeleton strapped to the floor. He promptly cuts it loose and swims back out, leaving the skeleton on the floor.
But taking some treasure.
Frank surfaces and shows some old Spanish coins to Sebastian, who says the coins are reasonably valuable. He goes back down to see if he can find any more, and notices that the skeleton is gone. 15 minutes in,
set it free.
We're 15 minutes in, and the credits finally stop appearing.
Yeah, they kind of trickled over.
There's some slow credits.
Yeah, they were very slow credits.
We watch Maria walk around the hotel room naked for a while, because why not, before she picks up the phone. Frank is calling Larry to join him on the dive. Sebastian tells Frank about local legends that there's something not right with that shipwreck. It has strong magic, and he mentions that she has been freed from those chains. Who?
The Deathhead Virgin, that's who.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, we cut to her, the Moro princess, who rises out of the ocean and stalks Frank, who obviously, obliviously drives away. The professor talks to Larry at the museum about the local beliefs, including the masked Moro princess. The princess wears a magic amulet, and this is all somehow related to Muslim beliefs, which I did not understand this.
It was a weird connection.
There's a cult called the Seahawks who still wait for the princess to return. I kept waiting for the football team or whatever. Who are the Seahawks? They're football, right? We don't do sports.
We don't do sports, no.
We watch the princess cross the beach to Frank's tent. She does something to him, and he wanders off in a trance. Meanwhile, Larry and Mr. Capunin are betting on a cockfight. Frank sneaks up to watch a bunch of young people singing around a campfire on the beach. Someone strangles one of the girls who goes for a swim. And again, we're telling you the plot of the story. There's a lot of scenes of just stuff happening that really don't affect the plot.
Yeah, there is.
A policeman talks to Larry and Sebastian in the morning. The dead woman's hair was all cut off. Sebastian goes to town to find Frank, who is now wearing one of those amulets. Frank can't remember anything from the last 2 days. That evening, Frank chases a woman home in the dark. He strangles her as 2 local men watch from the shadows, and then he cuts off her hair. Sebastian takes Larry out to the shipwreck, but he can't find it now. Neither of them can find Frank either, which is odd. When they do find him, he's confused and acting strangely. Then Frank, Larry, and Maria all decide to drink, dance, and chase each other around the beach for too long.
Quite a while, yeah.
It gets late, and they all pass out. I think I was ready to also at this point. After dark, the princess comes up on the beach and for some reason doesn't kill Larry, who's too drunk to look at her. Larry goes out to eat, and the policeman tells him there's been another murder. He thinks it might be the Seahawk cult. 7 virgins must be killed and shaved to satisfy the legend. This just gets weirder and weirder.
Yeah, it does.
The policeman suspects that Frank found something that stirred up the trouble. The policeman he's like the dollar store Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's...
His voice is the same. And
when we first put on the trailer of it, you heard his voice. You said, "Oh, that's Ricardo Montalban."
I said, "I know that voice."
It's not.
Yeah.
Actually, the cop actor is not even in the credits, and he's got a fairly decent part.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Larry drives all over the island looking for Frank, who has suddenly vanished. We cut to Frank chasing another girl through the woods and being followed by 2 guys whom we assume are cultists. Larry tries to interrupt the attack, and cultists throw knives at him. They chase each other in jeeps because this thing needed a car chase.
You might as well use them.
And for some reason, there are random explosions on the road.
Because explosions are cool. It's like these 2 guys said, "Hey, this movie needs more explosions. Let's just add some here."
Frank goes back to camp where he attacks Maria, and he's clearly possessed at this point. Larry catches up, and Frank runs off into the sea. In the morning, Larry goes diving and looking for the cursed shipwreck, while some of the locals tie up a girl as an offering to the princess. He finds the ship, along with Frank's body where the skeleton once had been. The princess herself shows up to attack Larry, and he forces her back into the cell and straps her back down where Frank originally found her. Then he swims back out.
Problem solved.
Sebastian says they need to get out of there now, but Larry wants to lower the net and bring up Frank's body. While he's down, the 2 cultists throw Sebastian overboard and drive off with the ship. "And that was the last we saw of the boat," explains Capunin to Mrs. Cutter at the funeral. She doesn't believe the part about the Virgin Princess, but Capunin says they left out all that stuff out of the official report. He then smiles and drives her to the airport to leave as planned. And that seemed like the end of the movie, but no, there's another half hour.
But wait, there's more.
We cut to the policeman, who still wants to know who killed who, when, and how, and he follows a tour bus that drops off a woman in the village. She takes a taxi out to the beach, where we can see that salvage boat not too far away. She pulls off her wig, and we see that it's really Janice, who didn't get on the plane after all. She swims out to the boat. She climbs aboard, fully expecting to find Frank on board. Turns out Larry is there. "I half figured it was you all along. Frank would never have thought of all that." They drink to profit, greed, and insurance money. He explains how he foiled the cultist's plan and got away. He shows her all the pearls that he's found also.
So she gets the insurance money and a new guy and a bunch of pearls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Win.
Yeah.
Well, that evening in town, the policeman talks to Mrs. Cutter, who is back in her black wig. Nobody can tell who you are if you're the black wig.
That's right.
Later, Larry sits on the beach as the Moro princess comes up behind him. No, it's Janice in a mask. He's not amused. She is, however, wearing one of those amulets now. Larry makes one more trip down into the shipwreck, and the princess is down there, and she seals him in the cell. He pulls on the rope for the emergency signal, but we see that Janice is up on the deck, and she's been killed and scalped. Nobody's going to help Larry.
The princess wins.
The princess wins. Yeah, well, anyway, like we said, this film had way too much of Frank and Larry having a good time, and not enough of the actual story. If you wanted to go on vacation on this island, this is a good video to see what the island's like. Well, we assumed the film was over when Mrs. Cutter left on the airplane, but it still had 25 minutes to go. The little twist did make it more interesting. Well, Larry was supposed to be dead and buried, but he was still hanging around town, where someone was bound to spot him eventually. Yeah, there's like 50 people in this town. He's hanging out in the bar, but supposedly being dead.
Yes, and somebody's going to recognize him and say, "Hey, aren't you dead?"
But nobody did.
No,
he got away with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, the film is available on YouTube. but doesn't appear to have ever had a release on physical media, ever. So the quality is, potato meets VCR.
It wasn't that bad, but yeah, it's not good. It's no DVD.
It's a fair enough story, and the setting is good. The acting isn't great, but it's acceptable. And the real failing here is the director. It's poorly paced and cheaply made.
But worth checking out if you get the chance.
Didn't hate it.
Yeah, I would recommend checking it out because it's old and interesting and obscure. Chances are you can brag about seeing this movie and nobody else has.
All right, now we'll bang out our next movie real fast. 2024 is Abigail. Directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette. Written by Stephen Shields, Gary Busick. Stars Melissa Barrera, Dan Stevens, Alicia Weir, Catherine Newton. Hour and 49 minutes. And the trailer that you should absolutely not watch is on YouTube in the show notes.
Yeah, go into this blind if you can.
I did not see a trailer. I did not read it. I heard some people say it was good. I've heard some people say it was bad, but I went into it absolutely blind.
I had some spoilers.
And I recommend you go see it blind.
And I recommend, even if you've had it spoiled, see it.
I will give it a very strong thumbs up if you don't know what's coming.
I still give it a thumbs up, even knowing what was coming. I still loved it. I might have loved it better if I hadn't been spoiled, I admit. But I was. But I still loved it.
Okay, the spoiler-free is all we're going to do, because I don't think we really want to do any more than that.
Well, we can talk about a little girl dressed for ballet.
We could. It starts out as a crime caper with a team carrying out a kidnapping. This much as we knew.
Yeah, this
it's
right off the bat, this is what they're up to.
Then it goes in a completely different direction as things goes off the rails, as these movies always do.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa Barrera is...
She's amazing.
Melissa, that's not the right name.
Oh, that's not the right name.
Who is Abigail? Is Weir something?
Oh, Alicia Weir.
Alicia Weir, yeah, you want to fix that.
Okay. Alicia Weir is amazing as Abigail.
And the rest of the cast keeps up. Effects were good. The story was cool. There's a lot of really dark humor. I thought it was very funny.
Mm-hmm.
And we like this one a lot.
Yes.
Most of the humor comes from Dan Stevens just being pissed off.
Exasperated. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, we open on a little girl dressed for ballet. The music starts. She starts doing Swan Lake for an empty auditorium as the credits roll. Outside somewhere, a woman seems to be waiting for a car. She checks her gun, gets in with three men dressed in black. It's Frank, Rickles, and Peter. Dean and Sammy wait in another car to hack a security system.
These people have not been named yet. These names come up later when their boss names them all after the Rat Pack.
Yeah, we don't find out their real names, most of them. Yeah.
Frank and Dean and Sammy and Peter and Don Rickles. So, yeah.
Well, the little girl, Abigail, finishes her ballet and gets in her limo as a driver pulls away. And we see that there's a tracker under the car.
Yeah, the credits are rolling as we see this little girl up on the stage doing a ballet number. And she's all right, but then the camera turns around. We see that the audience is completely empty. The whole theater is empty.
Yeah.
And then she gets out and goes in the limo. It's like her dad has rented the theater for her to do this.
Or maybe he owns it.
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
Uber rich. Yeah, there's mega bucks here. Yeah. Well, the black-clad criminals break into the house as Abigail's car pulls up outside. Abigail comes in, and it's clear that she's alone in the house. The criminals do their thing, and then stuff happens. I don't think we should spoil it any further than that.
Yeah, it's a kidnapping gone wrong, but it's a really good one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, loved it.
Let's see if there's anything here at the end to read.
Anything else we can say without spoiling it?
Managed to go into this blind, having no idea what it was about, beyond kidnapping a little girl. Horror guy Kevin got a few spoilers ahead of time, but he still liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't advertised as a horror comedy that I could tell, but it's definitely got its moments.
It certainly does.
Even some of the ballet bits are funny.
Yes.
I kind of like the ballet bits. I thought it added a lot to it.
Yeah.
The first half hour seemed like a standard kidnapping story, and we're starting to wonder why this was considered a horror film.
And then you find out.
Yes, we did. Especially like Kevin Durand as Peter. He's hilariously stupid.
Yes.
He's this big, strong guy, and he's like,
yeah. One brain cell.
Angus Cloud as Dean, who is like a crackhead. I think he was based on like the assistant in Breaking Bad. That's the second guy.
Yeah.
And actually, he died during the production of this. He'd finished his scenes, but he really did die afterwards.
Yeah, he died young. Yeah.
Dan Stevens as Frank is hilarious in a exasperated kind of way. Yeah, we liked it a lot.
Yeah, we did.
And that's really no spoiler. That's about no spoilery as we can get. It's good. Go watch it.
Yeah.
Pandemonium 2024, written and directed by Quarks. Quarxx.
Wasn't that interesting?
If I want to make a movie, I want to be like Quarks.
Quarks.
Actually, his name is taken. I'd probably be like, boy, I don't even know.
Quarks.
Stars. Arben Najrakatar.
It's an international film.
Bring on those Japanese names. I can do those.
This is very European.
Arben Najraktaraj. Ooh, sounds Klingon.
Yeah, when you say it that way.
Hugo Dillon and Ophelia Kolb. Hour and 35 minutes. Trailer in the show notes. Definitely want to see the trailer on this one first. This is, we saw the trailer and yeah, we want to see that.
Yeah.
Spoiler free, what happens?
Well, this had an awesome beginning and a very good ending. In the middle is sort of an anthology of tales, and they are grim and disturbing, which we liked, but we thought they were a little bit too long and on the dull side. Overall, it's a win, but it's kind of hit and miss.
I think part of our lack of enthusiasm was we didn't know going into this that it was an anthology.
Yeah.
The trailer shows the two guys on the road going in the door to hell, and we thought, yeah, all right.
Mm-hmm.
No mention is made of, multiple tales in the middle.
Yeah.
They're not bad, but we weren't expecting it, and I think that flavored our opinion a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Nathan wakes up in the middle of the road in a mountainous landscape. Holy shit, I made it, he says to himself as he looks for wounds. There's been a terrible car crash. Another man is there who is riding a motorcycle. He looks fine, but Nathan apologizes. Do you remember getting out of the car? Asked Daniel. No, Daniel adds. We didn't make it. Nathan immediately goes into denial. Nathan ran Daniel off the road and killed him, or at least Daniel claims. Nathan looks into his own car and sees his own corpse inside. Daniel seems to be adjusting to death pretty quickly, but Nathan argues that it's not possible. They see another car coming down the road. The driver gets out, but he doesn't hear anything Nathan says. All he sees is the dead body. The man goes through dead Nathan's pockets and takes all the cash before driving off.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Nathan finally starts to accept that he's a ghost.
We should stop there.
Time passes in an instant, and there's much more snow accumulated. It's gotten very snowy there. There's a door there on the road. They hadn't noticed it before. Daniel says he hears music, but Nathan doesn't. There are two doors, one white and one red. Nathan hears screams, while Daniel hears music.
And what will happen there?
And Daniel hears the white music, and Nathan hears the red music.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't say more without spoiling it, but
no,
that's not
can't.
Right. That's not right.
It's not quite right.
I think it might be right as of this moment, but a few minutes later, something changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm going to stop there. It's an afterlife movie. And it ain't cheerful.
No, it isn't.
It's a weird anthology, something that was not clear from the trailer. We really liked Nathan's wraparound story, but the segment with Joni and Tony was too long and unfortunately kind of predictable. Nina and Chloe's story was also drawn out and predictable. In both cases, it's like an anthology with just two stories in the middle. In both cases, we knew all the characters were going to end up dead and in hell, so that's about as big as the spoiler as this movie can have. That's not even a spoiler. That's the point of the movie.
Yeah, uh-huh.
It might have been more interesting if we'd have simply gotten Nathan, Daniel, and the girl's story, but instead we got the long backstories of random corpses in hell. Overall, I think the wraparound story makes it worthwhile, but it's kind of a mixed bag.
Yep. Yeah, it is.
Thumbs up, thumbs down, you recommend it?
Overall, a weak thumbs up, yeah.
I'll go with that, too.
Because of the strength of the wraparound. Really liked the beginning and the ending.
Better than middling, but it could have been more.
Yeah.
Did you see any short films this week?
We did. We saw one called Vance that's brand new this year, which was written and directed by Dakota Dolby.
This year? I think it just came out this morning, actually.
It might have. It's spanking new. Stars Harrison Hode, Yasemi Panganiban, and Sage Tousey.
I'm thinking it's another international movie.
Runtime is 12 minutes and 2 seconds, and you can watch it on YouTube for free.
You can.
Yeah.
Well, a boy looks at buying vampire killer steaks on Amazon, but he doesn't hit the buy button. You really can get everything there, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
Later, he goes to the convenience store and has to choose between Dr. Blood and Blood Guru.
Did you notice he was drinking a Dr. Blood?
I didn't notice that immediately.
He was surfing online. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the little kid behind the counter is a vampire with fangs and everything, and he comments on how Vance got defanged. He says the whole retro vamp look is making a comeback, he says. All right, so clearly we've got some sort of like vampire world going on here.
Yeah, this is a alternate reality where vampires are just a thing.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years old, and they're just part of society.
Next,
And they make products for them and everything.
after seeing his vampire therapist, Vance visits an old man and helps him eat. He meets the girl from the therapist's office at the carryout place, and they talk about their troubles.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's being all emo. The steak, he was considering suicide.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
what that was about. Yeah.
Well, we like the way it even opens up interesting. The way the credits and the music play together. I like the opening credits a lot.
Yeah, that was
And it's
neat.
just words, but it's really well done.
Yeah, it was.
We start off maybe thinking Vance isn't a vampire because he's wanting to go kill a vampire with that steak.
No, it was for him.
And then
Yeah.
at the convenience store, he doesn't have the pointy teeth. I thought maybe he was trying to fake it.
Uh-huh.
Pass as a vampire.
No, that's not the case. But
No,
yeah,
no.
It does make you wonder. Yeah.
Turns out Vance has survivor's guilt, and it's interesting how that plays out, especially with Roger, the old man that he takes care of.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's an interesting world. Many people here are vampires, but they're trying to live with normal people. It's a lot like True Blood, only with less sex and Southerners.
Yeah.
That's the problem with too much True Blood. Too much sex and Southerners.
Well, maybe this is the True Blood universe, and this is
In
just
the north.
and this is in Idaho.
Yeah. But it was really well thought out, and I liked it a lot. I would totally watch a TV series of this.
Yeah, me too. It was
Yeah.
very cool.
It's a good short. It would make
Very
it...
good world building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that takes us to Infested from 2024. Directed by Sebastian Vanacek. Written by Florent Bernard and Sebastian Vanacek. Stars Theo Christine, Sophia Lasaffer, and Jerome Neal. Hour and 46 minutes. And it is very, 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 very French.
Very French, yes.
Which actually I think hurts it.
A little bit, you think?
There's so much yelling and screaming, and they're all French, and it's just... Even with the subtitles, I was getting a headache.
And there's rap music, too. I know you like rap music.
French rap
French
music.
rap music, no less.
La wee 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 da wee 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 ah, wee 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 la 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 la.
There you go.
There's my
You
French
have-
rap impersonation.
You have it down.
I'm glad we don't have any French listeners. We don't now.
Well, I think you've just offended all of them.
Okay, spoiler free.
Spoiler free, this has spiders. Lots and lots of spiders. Like we alluded to, the characters are kind of annoying, and so is the soundtrack, but it's creepy, and it's pretty well done. It's a good one if you want some shudders. Overall, we'd give it a thumbs up.
If you got a thing for spiders, this is the movie.
If the thought of spiders makes you shudder, you will shudder watching this.
Yeah, this... I cannot think of a better spider movie.
No, but yeah.
Or a worse spider movie,
Well,
depending on
yeah.
how you want to look at it.
Yeah, the most spidery spider movie I think that there is. Yeah,
It's all CGI spiders, but they're very well done.
a lot of it. I think there were some.
there
were
are
some
some,
practical
yeah.
effects, but yeah, very effective.
Okay, well, a bunch of men get off a truck in the desert outside of Dubai. They turn over rocks as if they're looking for something out there. One man finds a small hole under the rocks and calls over the others, who spray some kind of gas into the hole. A horde of spiders charge out of the hole, biting one man, but the others grab a bunch and put them in jars. The bitten man seems to go insane, and the others kill him. At this point, I'm thinking the spider bite turns you into a zombie or something. But no, not really.
Yeah,
Credits roll as the spiders are sent out with other animal samples. To the pet stores.
it's a black market pet store kind of thing. Yep.
Well, we cut to France, where Caleb goes to see Ali for some jewelry, and Ali has weird animals in the back room. I sell everything, Ali proclaims. Huh.
Yeah,
I want
including spiders.
Yeah. Caleb sees one of the spiders and wants to buy it. It might be poisonous, so take care. Caleb goes home, and we get a good look at his building and his neighbors. Mathis is a thief. Mrs. Zhao is the cleaning lady. We also soon learn that Caleb collects live bugs, amphibians, and reptiles, and he puts the spider with the others, but just in a cardboard box from now, since he's low on aquariums. Yeah, his little apartment bedroom looks like a pet store.
Yeah, he's got a little zoo going there.
Caleb's sister, Manon, complains about how the heat for the menagerie is raising their electric bill, and they need to sell their apartment. He goes to a party, and the spider gets out through the hole in the box, as was obviously going to happen.
Yeah.
Caleb goes home and notices that the spider's gotten out. He does, however, find some kind of cocoon. Manon has invited Jordy, Lila, and another guy, Mathis, to do some repair work. Caleb is a shoe dealer, and he sells a pair to a gang friend, Tumani. Tumani goes to his apartment and puts on his shoes, and oh my goodness, guess what's in the bottom of that shoe?
We found the spider.
No, we found a whole bunch of spiders.
It was a pregnant spider.
Yeah, they hatched very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Time passes weirdly in this movie.
Well, these are not normal spiders. Yeah.
These are not even possible spiders to reproduce as quickly as they do.
Mm-hmm.
Later, Tumani's dog keeps barking, and the neighbors are worried. They break in and find a body. The cops arrive, and they think it might be a virus, but some of the neighbors think it was bad heroin. Mrs. Zhao goes into the storage room for cleaning supplies, and we see that the spiders are there. She sees them too, and sprays the place. We see many spiders in the ventilation system.
And you should stop
That's
there.
where I'm going to stop, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a spider movie. You know what's going to happen.
Hilarity ensues from there. Yeah.
Spiders. Ooh. Even if you're a little squeamish about spiders, then this one's a must-see. They really cover all the spider terror bases here.
Yeah, they do.
This is the spideriest spider movie ever.
Uh-huh.
There seems like unending scenes of people yelling at each other in French. The characters are all annoying.
Well, they're very passionate people. And loud.
And loud, yes.
And frightened.
Even when they're being friendly, they yell at each other.
Yeah, they do.
The occasional bits of French rap music may be even more annoying.
Yeah, I didn't mind the music that much.
I didn't mind the music as much as the screaming either. No one tries to leave this building in the beginning. Why? Because the cops said to stay put after they find Tumani's body.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody stay in this building. Why? For witnesses? I mean, there was some mention of maybe a virus, but nobody tries to leave.
You
can have COVID and everybody fights about masks, but
into
nobody's going to leave the building.
Don't spoil it, though. Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, I did not like the way the spider evolution and reproduction happened so quickly.
They're not natural spiders.
As far as I know, this whole movie takes place in 4 or 5 hours.
Oh, yeah, a day at most. Yeah.
Yeah, and they keep evolving.
Yeah, and growing.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of science you have to ignore here, but if you want to see the spiders, see the spiders.
Yeah, see it
Ooh,
for the
spiders.
Yeah. Come for the science, stay for the spiders.
Yeah. All right, and that's all we're going to talk about. We're not going to spoil that one anymore either.
Abigail is my favorite of the week.
Mine too.
Yeah.
I liked Abigail a lot.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And Vance was also very good.
Yeah. Excellent short.
Yeah, if they were going to make a remake of Infested, that's one of the few movies I think deserves an American remake.
Yeah.
I think the whole drawback of that was all the French.
I think it could be really good as an American remake.
I mean, we've spent the past month watching Japanese Godzilla movies, and that doesn't bother me a bit. They're subtitled, and I don't understand it, but it's not annoying. These guys, all they did was scream at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was annoying. All right, if you'd like to also be annoyed, you could go over to horrorbulletin.com, sign up for our free weekly email list, where you will get our reviews in your email once a week.
That's not annoying at all. It's only once a week.
Depends on if you agree with the reviews or not, like Vertigo and Frankenstein Conquers the World.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, well, Vertigo was kind of good. It's a classic. They tell me it's a classic.
It was a little slow in the middle there, but I don't regret watching it. It is a classic. It was good.
I don't regret it. Yeah.
Sound like you do.
No, I don't. Really, I don't. No.
All right. Well, next week, guess what? We're going to have 4 movies and a short for you, just like this time. Only maybe fewer spoiled. No, actually, I think we're going to watch a bunch of new stuff next week, too.
So we're not going to spoil them here. But if you want to be spoiled, you can check out the website and see the full reviews.
The newsletter at a Horror Bulletin or the Horror Guys website. Both has full written reviews, including all the spoilers. So you can check those out anytime you want to. And stop in and pick up your free Alfred Hitchcock book. Good evening.
Good evening.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, we'll see you next week. I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
See ya.
See ya.